What's up, everybody? If you can hear me, put something into the chat. We're here live for a Jacoby 2 no Trump bridge lesson. Hello there. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you're well out there, staying safe in this weird environment, but I'm glad you're all here to join us. And for those of you that are in the YouTube channel and are not logged into bidbox, all you need to do is type in bidbox.xyz right into your browser and you'll be able to bid these hands along with us. We're going to talk specifically about Jacoby 2 no Trump tonight. We're going to bid some hands in bidbox and then we're going to just look at some random auctions on Bridgebase and call it a night. So I am going to start in a moment. Anyone has any questions at all, you can fire those into the chat and I will try to get to them as we go. All right, guys, here we go. Let's start up Bitbox and let's take a look at our first slide. So what we're going to see on the screen here is essentially just a representation of what Jacoby 2 no Trump is going to look like. And these are the responses, and I'm going to make them a little bit bigger here if I can. All right, these are the responses to the Jacoby 2 no Trump bid, which is simply our forcing major suit raise. So when you are opening a major suit, we need a response that kind of does everything for us, meaning we want it to be able to show a game forcing hand while also showing that we have a good fit in the major suit that partner just opened. So it's kind of the best of all worlds, right? We get to show a fit, locking in where we're going to play the contract, and we get to show that we're going to game at least. And these are really useful tools to go higher than game and get as much information at as low a level as possible. So the responses we're looking at here are the 3-level responses to each of the suits. So on the left, we have the responses to 1 spade, 2 no Trump, right? We opened a spade, our partner bid 2 no, and this is what each of these bids means. You'll notice that the new suits at the 3 level are shortness. All right, so 3 clubs shows a singleton or a void in clubs. 3 diamonds, same, 1 or 0 diamonds. 3 hearts, 1 or 0. And the return to our major suit shows a non-minimum hand. I know it says extras there, and we're going to get to that in a moment when we start bidding some hands. But this just essentially means that you didn't open a real piece of garbage, right? It's any like 14, obviously, any good 13 with a little extra shape but not shortness should be just bidding the major suit at the 3 level. And you notice for hearts, exactly the same. Any new suit at the 3 level is shortness. And the return to the major suit is simply, hey, I don't have a terrible opening hand. What's up, everybody in the chat? Thanks for chatting. Feel free to super chat if you like, not necessary at all. But let's move to the next slide, which shows our 4-level responses to Jacoby 2 no Trump. Right? So when we have shortness, we have a couple of ways we might be able to show it sometimes. And all of these responses that you see, except for the return to our major suit, all of these responses show a second 5-card suit, which in and of itself, think of the math, people, that means we have shortness somewhere, right? So these are actually preferred if we have them. The 4 club bid you can see in response to either of these is 5 or more clubs, 4 diamonds, 5 or more diamonds. The only small detail here, you can see on the bottom there in the asterisk, we need to have 2 of the top 3 honors in order to make these bids. And the reason behind that is when we are chewing up this much bidding room, right? We're going from 2 no and we're responding to it and we're chewing up a whole level that we could use to exchange information. We want to be as specific as we possibly can be. So in these spots, these 4-level bids definitely show a 5-card suit, but a very good one. 2 of the top 3 honors, always. And then the return to 4 of the major. You see on the left, it's 4 spades. On the right, it's 4 hearts. That just shows, hey, I have a minimum hand, not a hand I was terribly proud to be opening, right? Doesn't mean that the auction is over. Partner may have a huge hand, right? This Jacoby 2 no Trump bid is 13 or more points, right? All right, let's take a look at our first problem of the night. here is your hand, and let me let me make this a little smaller. I tried to make it too big earlier. Okay, so your partner opened one heart. Sorry, excuse me. You opened one heart. Your partner bid 2 no trump. And one quick reminder, folks, this bid is alertable. Okay, so when it goes a major 2 no, you should alert this bid because it's not technically standard, even though these days, yeah, so many people are playing this as at least some sort of forcing raise that, you know, if you don't alert it, I don't think you're going to get in too much trouble. And so what bid are we making with this hand? We opened a heart. Our partner responded to no. What are we doing with this hand? All right, so remember, we've already opened. So the question is, are we bidding? Well, what are we bidding? And for those of you that might have just joined us, bidbox.xyz in any browser will get you to the app that will allow you to bid these hands. And that will be an option only on March 24th between the hours of 7:30 and about 8:30. All right, if you're not watching this between those hours, you're not going to be able to bid live with us. You'll still be able to kind of see the questions and the answers that we give to all of these bids. Looks like we have about even numbers in the app and in YouTube, so it looks like you guys are all signed on. I'm going to give you a couple more seconds. I haven't seen the right bid yet. Oh, there it is. I saw the right bid. And this is going to change your perspective, I think, a lot of you, on what you should probably be doing with this hand. And if I can't change it on this question, I think I have one and maybe a slide or two that might really dial in my point. And that's because the correct bid here, folks, is 3 hearts. Now, I know this looks like a minimum, and I know a lot of you are probably saying that, like, what the heck is he talking about here? This is absolutely not the best hand, but it is not a minimum, right? You have 13 high card points, you have 2 small diamonds. So this is not as bad as it could be. And you want to save that 4 level bid to jump to 4 of our major for really your worst hands. Okay. So and I'll show you one of your worst hands in a second. But a hand that you open like a flattish 12 count, right? Or you know, we'll look at a hand in a moment that you would probably open and have trouble with. All of the other bids, folks, are going to show something different. The correct bid is 3 hearts, and only 10% of you got that, so we got a little work to do here. And that's just going to show a hand that doesn't have shortness, right? And obviously doesn't have a second 5-card suit because they would automatically have shortness, okay? So in this spot, you are just going to bid 3 hearts and see what partner does. And think of this as like a good partnership bidding exercise, right? You want partner to have room if they end up having a big hand, right? So we're not necessarily bidding 3 hearts because we love our hand. We are bidding 3 hearts because we simply want to tell partner, hey, we're not totally broke, right? We don't have our worst hand. I'm seeing something in the chat that there's echoing. Is that true, guys? Is there echo on this? Not sure if I have anything set up here. Just give me a little pop in the chat there, folks. Sorry for the delay. Let me know if you're hearing me okay, if there's any echo. And if there's some echo, you just maybe want to make sure that you only have one device running or one window open, guys. And sometimes it could just be like a relatively choppy internet connection, which honestly, the last week or so, that could certainly be possible. All right, so here, this is certainly not wonderful, but not a minimum enough. Not worse, not bad enough to be bidding 4 hearts, okay? All right, so let's take a look at the next one. Now here is an example of a hand that might do something that we just talked about. So I'm going to let you guys bid it. This one might be a quick question, like a free space and bingo. But you've opened a heart on this hand, and I'm not saying you would. I'm just saying you are in a position where you've already opened a heart and your partner bid 2 now. What are you doing with this hand? I could add a jack to it and all of you would open. Yeah, if you are in this live lesson with Jim Slavin, you are here for sure. Just go to bidbox.xyz and you'll be able to bid these hands right along with us as we go through this lesson. Okay. So anyone that just came in, I'm going to type it into the chat for all of you. Bidbox.xyz in your browser, right in that address bar on top, and you will be able to bid along with us. Must be windy down there, maybe. Hey, Krish, welcome back from India. I'm just getting to kind of these chats here. Kelly, welcome back from Ontario. And Bernadette, I see your question here. Pick is very fuzzy on TV, YouTube. If it's on the TV, if you're broadcasting it to the TV, that can add some delay to it, which causes the picture to degrade. I know because I've actually tried to run stuff on my television through that. If it's running directly through your TV, not connecting, it might be okay, but on a computer is probably the best. It should be clear on your device, though. If you're on bidbox.xyz, you should at least be able to see the problem relatively clearly. And it looks like most of you have gotten the idea on this. This is definitely our minimum bid, okay? We absolutely hate our hand, right? I forced you to open this hand, and I apologize, but it's a hand that, with a 5-card major and 11 points, you're probably going to open that a huge percentage of the time, or at least you should be, okay? So here, the 4-heart bid is kind of for those hands that want to show something like this, like, look, partner, I'm kind of ashamed. Rob made me open this, and I don't like him for it, but hey, he made me open, so now I'm going to show you my minimum, okay? Yeah, I'll be careful those cards don't attack me, Armand. Thanks. That's a funny chat. All right, let's take a look at another one. So here, once again, we are in the position of the opening bidder. We opened a heart. What are we doing after partner bids 2 no trump, right? We opened 1 heart. Our partner bids 2 no, and as good regular duplicate players, we alert this, make sure our opponents know that we're on the game. It's okay to think about it for a little while before you alert, but usually doesn't cause too many problems to just be alerting these things. And for for those of you watching at home, you might think I'm like distracted by something else on my phone. This is actually where I'm giving you your questions from. I had a comment like that the other day in a class where they think I'm like responding to a text message. I'm actually giving you the problems directly through this. So I don't think I could possibly be that focused to respond to a text message during a live class, but maybe someday. All right, very good. A lot of you jamming on the right answer here. Very nice. Give it a couple more seconds for you guys that are late arrival. Bidbox.xyz to make your call, and I'm going to make it in the box right here. 3 clubs. All right, this is easy now. If we remember these responses, 3-level shortness, 4-level second 5-card suit. If we just remember both of those things, we're going to get this right way more often than not, right? So think of just in general, right? We both have recognized with 2 no trump that we're playing hearts and hearts alone. This guarantees a 9-card fit for that suit, okay? So any new suit is kind of superfluous, right? We don't need it to show that suit. So we use this first step, right? This first step after Jacoby 2 no trump to show these specific things. The most common mistake ever with Jacoby 2 no trump is the next player, after we respond to Jacoby 2 no trump, they now think that they're showing shortness when that is not true, right? The only part of this system that exists is the original 2 no bid and the first response to that bid. Subsequent to that moment, every new suit now would be control. Going back to the trump suit at the lowest level, that's not game, might show some extra values. And then bidding game just says, hey, based on the information I've seen so far, this is what I want to do. So don't get confused. The only person that is going through these responses that we've talked about to Jacoby 2 no is in fact that responder to that 2 no trump bid. As soon as that bid is made, we're done, right? Any new suit is control or an attempt to play higher than game. Other thing about this hand is no matter how bad you think your hand is, right? So if I give you that 11 count from the last hand and I add a singleton to it, you would still show shortness, right? You don't kind of decide whether or not you should show it. You just always do. Okay, we have a question in the chat. How do you know that the 3 clubs is shortness and not a control bid? I hope I just answered that actually. I might have been answering it as you were typing it in. The reason we know is because we agree to play Jacoby 2 no trump, which is a two-step bid. It's the bid itself, 2 no trump, forcing the game 4 card or longer support for partner's major. And that next bit, right? The response, the direct response to Jacoby 2 no, 3 level shows shortness. That's what we agree, because that's part of the system, right? And the 4 level would show a second 5-card suit. Bing. That's exactly what we agreed. No, Ellen, it should definitely not be a control bid. It's better to find out about our shape. We've already found our suit. Every bid after that moment can be control, but we need one bid after 2 no to describe our shape and make our partner understand where our values are. And then we'll get to control bidding. Okay, hope that helps. But when you play the 2 no trump system, whether you play Jacoby 2 no trump or not, this is the most common and the easiest to do. We all have different meanings for those bids to 2 no trump, because it's important that both of us kind of are in the know, right? What kind of shape do they have? Do they have shortness? Do they have a second 5-card suit? Do they have extra values? Do they have a minimum, right? We need that response to dial in that range. All right, next. This time you opened a heart, and guess what? Partner knew it was a Jacoby 2 no class, so they bid 2 no. Make your bid with this sucker. And I'm guessing we're going to have two choices here that people are going to make. And it's the question, maybe which one, or which one is right. Most of you are on the right side. And Gilles, please do not bid in the chat. If you want to bid, you can do so now if you just go to bidbox.xyz in your browser. We just want everyone to be able to have their own choice, right? So if we're bidding in the chat, we're kind of ruining the answer, possibly. Even though I will have to say, and only because you typed it in the chat, I will tell you that that is not the correct answer. And that is because the correct answer is 4 diamonds, folks. All right, so this is part of our initial response structure to the Jacoby 2 no bid. All right, so we opened a heart, partner bid 2 no. This is our window, right? We're showing shortness at the 3 level, a second 5-card suit at the 4 level, and then going back to the major with other sorts of hands that are all balanced, by the way, right? Because we would always show shortness. So here, think of the logic behind this. We have both bids available. The 3 level shows shortness. The 4 level shows a second 5-card suit. Both of them show shortness, right? If I have a 5-card suit and I've already opened a heart, so if I have a second 5-card suit, I have 10 cards, which means I have 3 for the other 2 suits. One of those has to be a singleton or a void. Right? The reason we do it this way, and the reason we have to have 2 of the top 3 honors when we do it, is because we are gobbling up a lot of that bidding room, but we're doing so to paint a very clear picture for our partner, who's on the other side of the table with a game forcing hand. Okay, Ronald, I see a question why, and I'm not sure what you're asking why for. What were we talking about there? If you can pop that into the chat, and I will kind of keep this hand up for a moment until you respond here. But here, those of you that bid 3 clubs, you're not technically wrong, right? You did show shortness in clubs. However, you had a more descriptive bid available, which was 4 diamonds, right? Because now we know, now we've shown our partner 5 hearts and a good 5-card diamond suit, 2 of the top 3 honors. Now they have a really great picture of our hand, and they do know we have shortness. Opener's second bid shows a singleton or void. Can it be an ace? Yes, it can be. If you're showing shortness, you're showing shortness, right? Just show your shape. what we might be talking about is maybe splinter bids, and usually we don't necessarily want to be making a splinter bid with a singleton ace, right? That's usually not great for our auctions. But other than that, here you're just showing your shape, right? Specifically 1 or 0 of that suit. Good, good. Okay, next case. Now we have once again opened a heart, and our partner bid 2 no trump. A little stronger this time, actually. Yeah, Gilles, the strength, the Jacoby 2 no trump bid is kind of the catch-all for all strong hands. So even a hand that would maybe want to splinter would only do so with exactly around an opening hand when they add all their points together. If, let's say, partner opened a heart and I had 4-card heart support and a singleton club, but I had 18 points, I would never make a splinter bid. Right? I would start with 2 no so I can get more information, and then I would proceed from there. So splinters should be also, because of the same reason that jump to 4 after 2 no, they chew up so much room that we want to be specifically tight with our values range, basically. Let's see what the crowd is doing on this one. And we were above 90% for a second and dipped below. We have some cowboys out there. I see some bidding shoes are on tonight. One of you just bid a slam. I like your style for sure, but maybe we can. The reason we use these conventional agreements is because we want to be more scientific about our big decisions, right? And we want to get as much information as possible for making these big decisions. And it's not very often that a slam hand comes up or a major, a very large fit comes up that you can take advantage of. So we want to, try to be as scientific as possible, especially when we have the room to do so. And someone just typed in, Armand typed in slow approach in there for sure, right? The slow approach is going to give you more information, more time to kind of make your hand known or extract that information from partner. And here we would definitely be bidding 3 diamonds. There's certainly no reason to rush. And there's also no reason to not show shortness, right? You just show shortness every time you have it. Some of you bid 4 no, and I don't necessarily mind that too much, by the way. I think that is also very reasonable, just because you have a massive hand that doesn't really need a ton of information, okay? But you might be missing Grand Slam in some spots by not just patterning your hand out, right? Bid 3 diamonds. You can always bid 4 no the next time you make a call, right? But you want to give partner an opportunity to maybe do something else before you decide. Mark Nightingale, thanks so much for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate it. And welcome to the class. Good to see you. Another Canadian, I believe. So in this spot, we are absolutely going to just slow it down and see what partner does. For all we know, we may get to 4-0 with the next bid, right? But we're certainly going to show our shortness and go from there. All right, next case. You have once again opened a heart, and your partner has once again bid 2 no trump. Make your bid with this one. How's things up in Canada, Mark? Hope they're doing well. Still cold. Just have to put you in timeout for a second, but in the timeout, we can go to bidbox.xyz and you can make your bids there. So just go into that website, bidbox.xyz, in your browser and click enter class and continue, and you will be making your bids right on your phone or another window. Okay. Yeah, Mark, all of us for sure. Glad you're with us. I think we have a huge amount of you already making your bid. I'll give it a couple more seconds here. And I will make my bid of 3 hearts. Right, this is a hand that, again, towards the lower side of your range, but still not your minimum, right? This is a good 14 high card points with a doubleton diamond. So just bid 3 hearts. There's no shortness to show, and there's also no reason to jump to 4 hearts. And the reason is, don't get me wrong, 4 hearts is very frequently going to be the contract that you're going to play, right? Very frequently when you bid 3 hearts, partner bids 4 hearts, and that's it, bingo. However, the times where partner's going to need more room to at least maybe describe or get more information from you, you want to conserve that for them almost always, unless you just know you have the worst hand. And we saw a very good example of that early on, that just ugly 11 count with cards everywhere, right? So here, this is certainly far from our lowest possible hand. So we just bid 3 hearts, not 4, just 3. And we continue to see what's going to happen on this auction. I hate giving specific ranges, Ronald, but it's a very good question. What's the desired range? I would say any good 13 or more is a 3 heart bid. I would say some 12s are 3 heart bids depending on their shape, right? If maybe 5 4 2 2s, something like that, right? But here I would just say, anything that's not just a flat 12 or 11, I would just be bidding 3 hearts with. Mark has a very good question in here. What do we use 3-no trump as a response for? And it's funny, I actually never teach this specifically because I like it for partnerships to agree what they want to use that for. I would say one of the more common ones is people use 3-no to kind of show 18-19 balanced, right? So 1 heart, 2-no Jacoby, 3-no 18-19 balanced, right? Kind of you were planning on rebidding 2-no basically is what this would show. I like anything below that, I would just show extra values and a balanced hand by bidding 3 hearts, right? So I think that's a decent way to kind of explain those extra values to your partner and let them maybe decide, because you paint a pretty good picture with that bid. Other people use 3-no trump as like a non-serious slam try, and it's kind of interesting to keep that open if you're having those types of discussions. Those are probably more on the expert level though, but I think a very normal basic agreement is to make 3-no's 18-19. Good, good. All right, next case. We are once again still opening the bidding. We haven't switched sides yet, but we will. We opened a heart and partner bid 2-no once again. What are we doing? Just trying to drill some of this in before we get to some wacky bridge base hands here. All right. Well, Ronald, when you have shortness, the question in the chat was, what range do we need to encourage by showing shortness, or when we have shortness? Just always show shortness, right? Just always show shortness. If you've opened a shapely hand that has a singleton in it that's 11, you still don't bid 3 hearts. You show your shortness. Your shape is way more important, especially understand that in all of these auctions, you both know that you have a 9 card major suit fit already, right? So the shortness points become, the shortness shape and the shape of your hand becomes way more important than your high card strength at this point, right? You can kind of figure out how the hand's going to play. And let me just finish the answer to this question, and I'll get back to that one as well. That's a very good question. I am going to make my normal 3 heart bid here, right? I have extra values. I have extra hearts too, but don't get this wrong. When we return to our suit after we've established a fit together, we're not showing extra hearts, right? This is a common question I get, so some of you may have been thinking it already. Here, when we bid 3 hearts, we're not saying, hey, I have a 6th heart. No, we're saying, hey, I have more than a minimum hand, and I'm leaving it at a lower level for us to be able to handle this, right? Most of you are nailing this now, right? I think I've drilled into your head what a real minimum looks like these days, right? Maybe much smaller than normal. So the question that I can back up here, if you have the choice between bidding good points like 14 or shortness or long suit, which do you pick? And the answer is, when you have shortness, you always, always, always show it. And if you have a 5-card suit with 2 of the top 3 honors, that is your preferred bid, right? So both of those bids show shortness, but the 4-level bid with 2 of the top 3, if you have that, you just always bid that. If you do not have that, let's say you have a singleton and a bad 5-card suit on the side, you show the singleton, right? So that is not about values, guys. It's just about shape, 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 right? Kind of like responding to 2 over 1. All right, let's take a look at another one. I think we might have switched to the other side now. Okay, good. This time your partner opens a heart and it goes past to you. What's your bid with this hand? I'll give you guys something else to look at in the camera here. It's magic. You can transport anywhere in this thing. So partner opens a heart. Gilles, I really appreciate you being here, buddy, but try not to bid in the chat anymore, dude. You want to make sure to go to bidbox.xyz to make your bids, right? So you type that into any browser you want. Thanks, buddy. I've only tricked a few of you so far. And maybe because the title of the lesson gives this one away, maybe. This is the reason I put this in here is specifically to get some of you to bid 2 clubs, right? You get kind of seduced by this very nice long suit that you have. But when you find a 9-card major suit fit, you are done looking for a fit, right? You are so happy to have this club suit be a source of tricks in whatever game and or slam you are about to play. All right, so this is the most wonderful bid you can make, because now you get to hear what partner does. And even if they show shortness in clubs, your hand is still amazing. But if they get to show you maybe extra values or something else that you're not expecting, you can now get a little more information before eventually you get to a key card auction from your side, right? This is a beautiful hand, and it is meant for hearts, not clubs, right? Because of the information we already know. All right, next case. This time your partner once again opened a heart, and it went past to you. Make your bid. On the last one, if they said 4 hearts, I would still try to bid a slam. I would just bid 4 no trump and see what happened. I don't need a ton from partner. All right, if any of you have ever heard of the book Point Schmoints, I think it's Marty Bergen. That is a very well-named book, because it's very true in a lot of rich hands when you can find out you have a certain number of cards in 1 or more suits, right? It becomes way more about trick taking than it does about, high card points, basically. Which is why we use these conventions. It gives us that information early and very reliably. And very simple. We bid 2 no trump. No need to even show our 4-card spade suit here. So this changes everything, right? That 9-card heart fit shows us that we are making our game forcing bid directly in hearts, and that is our Jacoby 2 no bid. Okay, next case. Now partner bids 4 clubs. So now we're going a little further down the rabbit hole on this hand. Partner opened a heart. We bid 2 no, and they bid 4 clubs. Ronald, the last one wasn't 2 over 1 because we had a 4-card heart suit. So let's think about this. When we have a game forcing hand and only 3-card support for partners major, we're always going to bid 2 over 1, and then we are going to go back and support partners major. Jacoby 2 no trump handles that in 1 bid, and it handles both of those things. The only difference is it's 4-card support or longer, and it's 13 or more total points, meaning points for game, basically, right? So the Jacoby 2 no trump bid is essentially both bids wrapped into one that give us this nice little compartmentalized 4-card raise that's game forcing, right? And it also gives us the response structure that will tell us more about our hand and more about our partner's hand as well. Now, you're welcome, SK. I have it no other way. I like spades, hearts, diamonds, clubs, always, 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 except in the dummy when you want to put them with different colors for sure. I wish I had a slide prepared for this. I'm wondering how many of you like the dummy in a certain way. Meaning, do you ask for clubs first? Do you do anything like that? So maybe you guys can type that into the chat. Do you say yes, I have a preference, or no? Like yes is I have a preference for how dummy is put down. No is I don't care, basically. I'm curious. I know a lot of people do. A lot of people have a strong preference for some makeup of the dummy. Yeah, it's okay, Mark. I agree. Like obviously the technical stuff, right? So Trump, all the way on everyone's left, basically. Ooh, lead suit on the right. I see. All right, and let's take a look at this hand while you guys are answering that question. So, what we usually want to do in this situation when partners made their first response, we are going to want to ask ourselves, did that improve our hand? Or do we just have, normal stuff now? Okay. And Ellen, thank you so much for the super chat. And it looks like maybe more people had a preference than not, basically, which is surprising. Yeah, I don't have a preference, but I can see why it's easy to kind of get used to a certain way that the dummy's placed, just for hand mechanics. One thing I will tell you, sorry to take a break from this hand, but I promise I will give it its full due after this, because this is interesting. To make your brain maybe work slightly more, those of you that like it in a certain way might want to mix it up a little bit. Just try it. You might hate it, but also it cuts down on you resorting your hand as you're playing, which honestly can be. People aren't supposed to be watching this, but it does give away information, right? If they see you taking 5 cards and putting it all the way to your left where those clubs are in dummy, make sure you're not doing both of those things. Right? You can do one, but don't do them both because it could be giving just people unauthorized information when really don't have a need to. Sorry for that sidebar, but this is a hand that we're looking at right now that I would always bid 4 no trump with, and let me explain why. We have a huge piece of information that partner just gave us that just improved our hand to a great degree. All right? Even though we only have 13 points, we have now figured out that partner has a 5-card club suit, and not only a 5-card club suit, a good 5-card club suit, 2 of the top 3 honors. We have 3 aces. We have a doubleton club, which actually don't underestimate the power of this holding when partner has a side 5-card suit. You've all played these suits before. If partner, let's say, has ace king 5th of clubs, or even ace queen 5th, we have a nice pathway to setting up that suit by simply playing a couple of tricks and then roughing that suit out. Right? If it breaks evenly, we're going to do really well. And also, look at how many cards partner has outside of their suits, right? They opened a heart. We have ace fourth of that suit. And rebid 4 clubs, showing 5 hearts and 5 clubs. They have at most 3 cards outside of those 2 suits. And we, in fact, have both of those aces. So we can bid 4 no trump. Those of you that actually bid 4 diamonds, sorry, I haven't released the results yet. That's also a very reasonable bid, right? You knew you wanted to continue. That's the big win on this hand. This is not necessarily about which one of these you chose. Continuing, though, is proper here, and that's what we want to kind of dial in. This bid that partner made was excellent for your hand. Okay, so on this one, you just want to find out, first of all, what partner's trump suit's looking like, right? That's the key card bid for sure. And also, we not only will get to find out about their ace of clubs, but if we find all the key cards, and we can bid 5 no trump to find out about the king of clubs if we're interested in going further. We may not be after this, by the way. But the key thing is we don't need much information from partner now to know that this is a very good situation for our hand. All right, let's take a look at another one. All right, this time, once again, our partner opened a heart. We have now bid Jacoby 2 no trump, and our partner bid 3 clubs. Make your bid with this one. 1 heart by partner, 2 no trump by us, 3 clubs by partner. Make your bid. Oh, Ricky, good question. How do we know he has top 3 honors? We don't know he has top 3, but that bid specifically in response to Jacoby 2 no trump, the bid of 4 of a new suit specifically shows 2 of the top 3 honors in that suit. Okay, and it's because of how much bidding room we're chewing up. Right, we're chewing up so much room. We want to make sure our bid is very specific for our partner, showing exactly what we have. Good question. Good question, Jim. This is really good, and this is good for the slam class I have coming up tomorrow afternoon, and I'll tell you guys about that in a second. If you have a worthless doubleton, can you bid Blackwood? The answer is you usually do not want to, right? Unless you've figured out something about partner's hand prior. The last hand, we figured out that partner had 2 of the top 3 honors in clubs. So at worst, their holding is king queen, so we knew we didn't have 2 losers in that suit. Very good question, though. Very, very good. All right, let's see the next one. I think all of you, or most of you, were bidding 3 diamonds, and that is the correct bid on this hand. What I want to discuss, though, is why it's correct. It is not shortness. Okay, so the only bid that showed shortness on the auction we're looking at right now is 3 clubs, because that is the response to Jacoby 2 no trump. 3 diamonds now by us is that control bid we were talking about earlier. We've already gone through the Jacoby 2 no trump convention and completed it, right? Our response, done, boom. So now, when it gets to us, we are now starting to show control. So any new suit after that first response is control in that suit. Right, so we're going to bid 3 diamonds and see whatever partner does next. The other key thing about this hand is understanding how amazing that 3 club bid is for the cards that you're holding, guys. You are holding an unbelievably good hand for the bid that partner just made because you have 4 small clubs and partner just showed at most 1 card in that suit. So when we're this low, some of you bid 4-0, which you can see in the results on your screen if you look. That's not unreasonable either, by the way. You kind of just need the information about partners' key cards, essentially. So 4-0 is really good. I like 3 diamonds only because maybe partner will now control bid clubs, and I want to give them room to do that. And now I might know about a void at a lower level if that's possibly happening. All right, so 3 diamonds is good, obviously, forward going. Those of you that stayed in the heart suit, The bid of 4 hearts is a sign off. Always remember, partner's never going to bid again. And that shortness cleared up a huge problem in your suit. 4 small clubs is amazing opposite that singleton. Why would you show diamond control and not spade control? Very good question. Donna, you show your controls when we're bidding them up the line, meaning you show them at the lowest available level first. So here, after 2 no, partner bid 3 clubs. If I bid 3 spades, partner now will know 2 things. I have a spade control and I do not have a diamond control. I would have denied it. Okay, so here our hand is just spectacular, opposite a shortness bid from partner. But now let's take a look at another example. Same auction, different hand though. Our partner opened a heart. We bid 2 no, and they now bid 3 clubs. And once again, guys, just a reminder, don't forget to alert that. It is actually alertable. And also, after this hand, I'm going to show you, I've put the Jacoby 2 no trump notes. Everything about this convention I've actually put directly on the front page of my site, and I'll show you that afterwards. I have a couple classes coming up the next couple days also that I want to tell you about if you're interested. But let's bid this one first. After it went a heart, we bid 2 no. Our partner bid 3 clubs, showing club shortness. What do we do? Armand, it's a good question. What wording do you use after alert? So here's how you should alert at any bridge club. When your partner makes an alert a bid, you alert. And if they ask you what it is, if it's very common, you can just tell them what it is, right? And this is common enough that you can usually say Jacoby 2 no trump, and they'll just nod their head and say, okay. However, if they ask a follow-up, like, what's that? All you have to say is, this is a 4-card forcing raise, right? So it's a 4-card forcing raise in my suit, and that should be enough for everybody. And then we'll alert the responses to it if we're bidding a new suit. In fact, I think, as of now, I think all the responses are alertable, so even the 3 of the major, you would alert. And I just learned that the other day, actually. It's very weird. I did not know they had changed the rule, I think 3 or 4 years ago. But alert them all, especially the shortness bids and the other ones, because those are truly artificial, right? So we don't want to let the opponents, or at least we don't want the opponents to miss like a lead directing double. That's the most common time you get penalized, when they could have doubled if they had known it wasn't shortness. So just always alert everything, and you will be safe. Looks like a lot of you are continuing with this hand, and I would just be bidding 4 hearts. And here's the difference between this one and the last one. This one is a hand that got worse when partner showed shortness. We took that king jack of clubs, and it's almost like plucking 4 points directly out of our hand, right? Because now that shortness is not nearly as useful as it was last hand. The diamond shortness, or excuse me, if partner showed diamond shortness, it would be so much better for this hand, because we have no what's called wasted values in the diamond suit. Okay, so here we didn't love this 3 club response, guys. We did not love this. This is not the best for us, and we have 3 small diamonds and a minimum, right? So here, that's how we show our minimum now. We jumped to 4 hearts. That did not help us. Let it go. Now, don't worry, guys. If partner has a huge hand, they'll continue themselves, right? You've already shown a 13 or more total points and 4 card support, right? So if partner is planning on continuing, you will let them do that. But from your side, you just want to make sure that you're showing your minimum, right? And if partner chooses to continue, they're doing so with that information in their back pocket, knowing that you did not cooperate with this endeavor. All right. Let's see. Well, the follow-up question was, I've been told not to use the convention name because beginners are afraid to ask and look dumb. I didn't think about it that way, and I guess it would depend on the level of game that you are playing in, right? So if you're playing in a game with a lot of beginners, I would go above and beyond the requirements. I would tell them exactly what partner had, basically, right? Because I have just a soft spot in my heart for anyone starting this game. So clearly, if the players are new, I would certainly explain my bids to completion and not even let them ask. But honestly, if it's a player that you know is relatively experienced and you've seen at the club for 5 years, you can get away with just telling them what it is, basically, because they know exactly what it is as well. They've played enough of that. All right, guys, that is the last hand in bidbox, and that should be sent to you. And I think this is probably a good time to kind of cut off the evening. I think we went through most of the material I want to get to, but I want to show you where you can go to find the notes for this. Now, the notes you saw today were very brief and just a slide or two, but here, guys, let me just go right here. Right on the front page of learnbridge.nyc, you can see the evening course just has Jacoby to no Trump notes, this little button right here that you can press. And that will just download the notes for you. You can download them, print them, do whatever you want with them. Just kind of a full series there. And also there's a video in the Learn portion. If you go to the Learn tab and click on the slam bidding, you can see the Jacoby Tuno Trump notes and some of the major suit slam auctions right here. I have a few courses coming up this week. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but we might as well take a peek here. I am, oh, excuse me. If I can actually get into this and scroll down, maybe not. I tell you what, why don't we just use this one here? Okay, much better. All right, so here are the notes again, guys, right here, Jacoby Tuno Trump notes, bingo. Just click on that and I'll show you right here. Nice package of notes, download, print, anything you guys want to do with this. And then underneath here, I have tomorrow afternoon, I have a slam series starting. This is kind of like what I'm calling a semi-private lesson. We're cutting this off at about 75, 80 people. Still a little bit of room in that class and still a little bit of room in the Thursday AM class. And there's just a list of the topics that I'm going to be covering in both of those. So if any of you are interested in that, feel free to sign up. You just go right to learnbridge.nyc and those are right in the sign up page. But the notes right there, a good overview of everything we talked about. If you've never played this before, uh, my goal is to get you to put it on the card and start playing it. All right, and just start messing it up. It doesn't come up very often. That's the problem with it. So the sooner you put it on the card, the sooner you'll have a chance to take advantage of it, I hope. All right, guys, thank you so much. Yeah, Jim, the notes, learnbridge.nyc. And let me type that right into the browser. Right on the front page, you'll see that this, instead of the schedule for the course, there's just Jacoby Tuno Trump notes right there, right on your screen. That's the site. And again, these classes tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 and Thursday morning at 10 a.m., both Eastern time. Both still have a little bit of room left, but sign up quickly. And then Monday evening, 7:30. I don't know if you've seen the replay or at least attended our class. The Rob and Gavin show is going to be live Monday, 7:30 p.m. So I hope to see some of you guys at all of these lessons or some of these lessons. But if not, I'll see you during the next free class, which is Thursday night. And I'm going to do a replay, not the same hands as before if you've been in this class, but we're going to do a class called Forcing or Non-Forcing, where a lot of the questions are going to be 50-50. So those of you that like finesses, you know, you're going to have a 50-50 chance on a lot of these answers in that class. Thank you all so much for the super chats. Jay Frizz, Ken, Mike Alpert, Armand, Begonia Girl, Ellen, thank you guys so much. Mark, starting it off with us. Appreciate that so much. You make my job really easy, guys. And I'm glad I can keep bringing you this great content here on YouTube. I will see you guys either on Thursday night or in one of these other classes we have coming up. And I'm going to sign off now, guys. Take care. Have a wonderful evening.